Anatoly Slivka was actively taking lives in the Soviet Union between 64 and 85. During these 2 decades, he fantasized about and recreated an event that he'd witnessed when he was in his early 20s. He'd seen someone drive into a group of pedestrians and take one of their lives, a teenage boy wearing a young pioneer's uniform. Thereafter, he sought out boys to recreate the scene. This was easy, being as he ran a children's club. After befriending a boy who was always on the shorter side, he would convince him to wear the young pioneer's uniform and be part of a controlled hanging experiment that he said would stretch their spines. He claimed he would revive them, but that was not the case. He took 7 lives this way, although he had done this to far more people, 43 in all. 36 actually were revived. All were filmed and photographed throughout the disturbing so-called experiments, and the footage was developed in Slivka's home laboratory. Slivka was arrested for his actions in 1989, and shortly after had his own life taken as punishment. Good riddance to a horrible person. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. A YouTuber named Outdoors with Eric patrols his property at night because he suspects a mysterious creature in the woods. It's a scary exploration and a creepy location for sure, but Eric wants to get as much evidence on camera as he can, so he keeps his fear in check and marches forward. At 1 minute and 43 seconds, he hears some really scary noises coming from the woods. I don't know what kind of creature would be up late at night screaming in the darkness. What does it sound like to you?
Hear that?
He walks for another minute until the scary noises give him pause again, much louder and closer this time.
Man, you guys hear that?
He feels watched and zooms in close with his night vision camera. You can barely make out the shape of a creature at first, so let me point it out for you.
That is bizarre.
When he plays with the setting, he gets a much better sighting on the creature, and soon discovers there are 2 of them across the stream.
They're coming closer. Yeah.
2 dots in the distance mark where he thinks they are. The screaming creatures of the night. No doubt they are real and so are the scary noises. But the real question is, what are they?
Oh my, I still gotta see it. Dude, there's this weird thing flying around. Where is it? Right there. Oh my. What is that?
Julia Marie Madness is being driven close to madness by a strange light that she is having trouble explaining. A light that's as interested in her as she is in it. Watch this and tell me if you think it's a camera glitch or something else.
Oh my god, what is that? It's scaring me a little bit. It's like right here.
She's worried about the orb trying to hitch a ride in her car, but some say she should be more worried about it attaching itself to her in a possible possession attempt.
It's like right next to me. It's like right next to me. Dude. Dude, don't come in my car.
Whatever this is, a car's passing headlights does nothing to change the size or appearance of the apparent ghost orb, so it doesn't seem to be a trick of the light. I'm not saying this can't be a glitch, I'm just saying it's very weird, and so as almost everyone else who's seen the full video, it first appears in a flash of pink light, almost like it teleports in from nowhere, or the pink light is just her thumb. It goes away after a while and she can't recreate the circumstances to make it appear again. Will this couple live happily ever after? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, this video was originally posted on TikTok. The mysterious video of what appears to be a wedding party is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. A pair of newlyweds sit together with a forlorn look on their faces, while an officiant reads through some documents or scripture with the wedding party gathered round. We can assume all is normal, but a moment later something unsettling happens. Watch the bride-to-be. What came over her? Her eyes grow wide as though she's suddenly become possessed by something. She then follows an unknown object above before having a strange fit and appearing to silently scream in pain. Did a mysterious force from above possess her? Or did that force simply strike in that moment and cause her agonizing pain? It's hard for me to tell here what may have happened without further context or an extended video, but if I had to guess, I'd say something possessed her. It's all in the eyes.
I'm so startled right now. I think I may have stumbled across.
While alone in the woods, a YouTuber named Christina Roberts sets her sights on two mysterious creatures she has never seen before. They look to be covered in fur and appear to walk upright as they spread out to cover more ground. At 30 seconds, one turns to reveal a broad, hairy back and may even be carrying one of its offspring. The two creatures are caught on Christina's camera, but they don't detect her because she is wearing camouflage and quietly whispering to herself out of view. They sit down in a clearing and she uses the opportunity to sneak away. I personally think creatures look to be about normal size and could just be people in gorilla suits. Hundreds of people have left comments agreeing that this is one of the scariest forest creature videos they've ever seen. So I guess I could be wrong. Tell me what you see. A YouTuber named GDude26 is absolutely sure that his basement is haunted. He says that something just feels wrong when he is down there, and that he and his mother have both heard footsteps coming from the basement all of the time. Both of them understandably want to know what is going on in their own home, so they set up a motion-activated camera downstairs. This camera will even send a video to his mom's phone as soon as it detects something. That way they'll know right away. This is what was sent to their phone at 5:13 in the morning shortly thereafter. Look closely, and you'll see a strange streak of light move across the camera multiple times. GDude26 and his family are sure it's paranormal, and I think it could be too. Then again, I guess it could also be a bug or something like that, but my question is, would a small bug be enough to trip the camera? I mean, it doesn't land on the sensor or anything like that. If you know enough about motion sensors to tell me if a bug could set one off just by flying by, then please let me know. Maybe we could get to the bottom of this one together. This doll is supposed to cry and crawl by itself, but it's not supposed to contort itself into bone-breaking positions while doing so.
It's laying and they like the same foot there. Oh man, that's bad.
The crying piece of plastic continues to pop its limbs out of place when a stunned family records in amazement. Some commenters are sure that this strange display is an early warning sign from malevolent spirits. I personally am curious if this YouTuber experienced any other strange events after this happened. If you have any more information about this video, or if this is some kind of common defect with this type of doll, then I would definitely like to know about it. Alison Swift is live streaming to her fans when these creepy moments have people wondering if the pop culture celeb has become possessed. Take a look and tell me what you think about this possible possession caught on live stream. I don't know if this is stress, weird humor, or an actual possession, but Alison Swift keeps acting strange and the fans keep getting more freaked out. Celebrities love attention, so it's hard to say if this is real or a publicity stunt. Hopefully it's not real, but the way those fingers bend is creeping me out. It's not often you see two trains so close on the same track, occurring near Smith Falls in Ontario, Canada in 1992. The footage shows a passenger train that needed to hit the emergency brakes while en route to Toronto. The passenger train appears to be traveling at a fairly fast speed when a stationary freight train comes into view down the track. As the commuter has little time to slow, the engineer stumbles out of the locomotive cab. In the meantime, the freighter backs up slowly while the commuter train has managed to brake hard enough to come to a complete stop right in the nick of time. The approach left no more than 6 feet between the locomotives, a close call that makes little to no sense as to why or how it happened. Would you be able to put up with this unfathomable poltergeist activity? YouTuber Sylvia C has long battled an angry energy wreaking havoc on her home. She experienced yet another encounter in May of this year.
What's happening again, guys? Lit.
What unresolved issues does this poltergeist have? He seems to often take it out on the kitchen.
Guys.
Commenter Enki2 has some advice for Sylvia in the comments. He writes, "Ghosts are like trolls. Don't feed them attention, respect, or most of all, fear." But I gotta say, with paranormal happenings like this happening around your home, it'd be pretty hard to ignore it. Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own. And the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if you were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, It's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on, and here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting, Paranormal Activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal Activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. This 10-minute video shows a toy ambulance going off at random, even though it normally requires someone to hold down the red buttons on top to make any noise. What's really weird is that it seems to respond to the voice of a child. Maybe it's just me, but it almost seems as though the ambulance was waiting for the child to count to a certain number here.
9, 10, 11, 12.
It goes off a few other times, most when the child is speaking or about to speak. Oddly enough, both of these clips seem to involve the number 12. Davo Velkrat explores an abandoned building on YouTube Live when his expression is interrupted by a distinctly human voice, or at least something doing their best impression of one. Eventually, Davo tracks the noise to a single room not far away. He waits for another minute, hesitant to go any further, and sees a face poke around the corner, but when he rushes in, the person is gone. A closer look at the room shows that there are no windows or doors that they could have escaped through from where they were positioned. There simply should be no way for them to disappear, and yet they are gone, leaving Davo Velkrat wondering what the heck is going on. This orphanage turned satanic church holds a lot of secrets. The team was lured to the place after seeing a shadow figure in footage captured by urban explorers in the building. Watch the dark passage.
You saw a shadow figure in that video, and you sent it over to me, and I was like, no doubt that that's a shadow figure. So we definitely know that shadow figures are here roaming about. But also another thing is
now it's Ghost Club Paranormal's turn to find the truth. Upon entering the haunted cult house, they discover some disturbing imagery.
like literally I've not.
Be careful, don't be around that thing that's from people shooting squirting in the wall.
Oh.
When they pull out their EMF meter, they get a jumpy reading.
We are getting, okay, I mean, for a building with absolutely zero electricity, that makes no sense. If there's anybody...
They also capture an EVP.
Yes.
Later, their REM pod is triggered.
Kidding me?
And shortly after, what sounds like footsteps are heard.
Hey, Cam. I just heard footsteps right behind me.
Then, they get a clear answer from the spirits.
We need to make clear contact with you right now if you're here with us. If you want to communicate with us, that's what we need from you. Oh my god, it's going off, it's going off. Shine your light up there.
And it's not long before they see them too. Watch the shadows in the hallway beyond.
It's totally fine talking to us as well.
Do you see the shape-shifting shadow whip through? I sure did. After that, the crew is given the fright of their lives.
Just in case something does happen.
Wow. Okay.
I am definitely feeling the terrifying energy in this house, but whether it's the young ghost congregant or Satan himself is anyone's guess. A ghost hunter doesn't even get his equipment fully set up before he detects a paranormal presence on camera. Look how quickly this shadow moves by. The shadow moves way too fast and also turns in the opposite direction as he does, meaning it can't belong to him. Here's the shadow from a second angle, this time taken from the handheld camera. Clearly, this shadow is caused by something off camera, but whether it's human or not is up for you to decide. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class?
Alright, just like a quick check-in. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's doing it.
A TikTok video made by Kristen Parham has people wondering if she needs to call an exorcist or an electrician.
I'm not making this up. They're flickering again.
Some of the lights look brighter and flicker. It could be loose light bulbs rather than the spirit world, but the weird thing is sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. If you are an electrician, then let us know in your professional opinion whether she's being dramatic or if the worst is yet to come. This urban explorer thinks he's in an abandoned building, maybe not. Published by Bulgarian channel Pini Studio in December of 2020. The scary video shows the cameraman standing in a stairwell. He hears something above him that sounds like footsteps. He looks up. After a moment, a hooded figure moves into view, just one floor up, blocking the sunlight from a window above. He stands there and they stare at each other for a moment. Then, terrified, the cameraman takes off running. Who is this figure, and what does it want? As it appears for now, we will never know. Imagine what it might be like to sail on the open sea. Nothing but water all around you. Now imagine that same water at night, posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit. This clip was originally posted on TikTok by Oily White Hat, who works on an oil rig. The short clip shows the black inky darkness that surrounds the rig at night. It's pitch black all around. You can't see past the handrails. Redditor Timbo Flex writes in the comments, "Yeah, I've been on a ship in the middle of the Pacific at night with only red lights. The stars and the colors above you are amazing, and below you is just a noisy void of inky blackness. It's like you're floating in space near the event horizon of a black hole looking away. Would you be able to stand it out here on the edge of the event horizon? As amazing as it sounds, I think I'm gonna stay on land." A YouTuber named Tim Wells is out bow hunting with his friends when a flock of geese appear directly overhead. One of them aims and takes fire without properly taking the angle of his shot into account.
Oh, watch this arrow. This arrow straight up. It's coming right for us.
He shoots roughly 90 degrees into the air, and you can actually hear the projectile cutting through the wind like a missile. As it heads back towards their exact position, it somehow lands roughly 10 feet in the middle of all of them, and they barely get away. Judging from the size of the arrow, there's no way any of them would have survived a direct hit. Leaked aerial footage was taken in late 2006. A formation of Italian fighter jets returned to base after conducting some training exercises when one of them, the one shown here, notices a thick black cloud fast approaching and only has moments to react.
Come? Sta passando da pane in mezzo a noi.
He performs an emergency maneuver and barely avoids a commercial airliner full of civilian passengers at the last possible second. Thankfully, his training kicked in because the much larger jetliner could not have changed its course. Look again and you'll see they come close enough to almost clip wings. If they had collided, no one would have survived. I'm going to take you to one of the most haunted places in the world. Some people call it the Arnold Estate, but you probably know it as the Conjuring House. Yeah, that one. This 1700s farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, is where the ill-fated Perron family lasted from January of 1971 until June of 1980. During this time, items would go missing, and small piles of dirt would show up whenever they cleaned the kitchen floor. Soon they were visited by spirits who smelled of rotting and could possess them at will. That's because it was less of a farmhouse and more of a portal to the underworld. A sorceress named Bathsheba Sherman is said to have practiced arcane magic here, possibly even sacrificing her own kin to better forge a connection with the underworld. People have lost their lives all over the property. Kids floating in a creek and swinging in the attic too. Now it's a place for only the bravest of ghost hunters to go. Jennifer and Marcel of J&M Explorations want to put their skills and equipment to the test. On March 18th of 2020, they team up with some friends for safety in numbers and prepare to explore it, the real Conjuring House. They want to see something crazy, so they waste little time heading straight into the basement, the same place where father and husband Roger Perron used to feel a sinking presence behind him whenever he had to come down here to fix the heating equipment, which mysteriously failed many times. The deeper they go, the more they are filled with dread. I don't think it's just them down here, and this is why.
Oh my god, it's just the creepiest.
Something guides them to a piece of old wooden furniture in the far corner that just so happens to have a kid's drawing on it. Andrea thinks this could be a person with a crooked neck in her words, and I see what she means. If it's not that, then maybe it's someone floating in the creek. As she's exploring what it could be, a small face with large black eyes looks at her from behind. At least that's what some people claim to see. Roger always thought he felt something behind him. The old barn is next. This part is of particular interest.
Yeah, this is neat, that old sort of,
I'm pretty sure Marcel is right by her, so it's not him. And here's another voice they catch in the bedroom. This one's not in the mood to sing.
Make a noise, but you gotta make it close. Make the noise in here with us. Can you knock on the wall?
Close. Make the noise in here with us. Knock on the wall.
What the?
Its voice drips with hatred, and soon thereafter a foul smell washes over Jennifer, the same one who moments earlier was asking for a sign. Well, I think she's got one and don't think she's faking.
That smell's coming back, and I can taste it. I don't like that at all. I want to get a drink.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll stay up here.
Yep.
She smells the rotting, in my opinion, a stench coming from the door. Watch her reaction when she tries to leave.
Oh my god.
Just then, their friends enter to talk about their experience while using a Ouija board downstairs. They spelt out a demonic name, and just the mention of it registers on their equipment.
The smell is when something evil, demonic is around you. When we were downstairs playing the Ouija board with the Beelzebub, and then they started smelling the smell up here. You see what I'm saying?
The meter's going off.
And while paranormal equipment is designed to withstand electromagnetic interference, normal cameras are not.
Wait a minute, were those the ones that were on that table right over here?
The screen turned off without him anywhere near it. A final truly bizarre moment happens when they head down to the dining room and see this hanging decoration is spinning. Soon another one is moving. this time side to side instead of in circles. Here's the same room taken towards the beginning of the video. The camera is not steady, but it's steady enough to tell that these objects are not spinning. It could be far from a vent or a draft, but I don't think so. These dried flowers are meant specifically to keep spirits away. Moving the flowers could be a message from the spirits that this isn't enough to stop them, as one of the ghost hunters points out. So you can say what you want about the movies, but the location it's based on is definitely not someplace you'd want to spend the night at. J&M Explorations experienced the same type of early situations that the Perrons had happen to them during their first few years of living here. Before things started ramping up, I guess the house likes to take its time. Oh, and then there's this doll who goes from waving hello at 13 minutes and 47 seconds to asking for a hug at 34 minutes and 39 seconds. So I guess Annabelle isn't the only one with possession problems. Shawnee Explores takes a Ouija board into the forest and places it just outside of a haunted cottage where a man took the life of his spouse. It isn't long before his electromagnetic frequency reader starts going crazy, so he and his friends know they are in the right place and set up the board. Soon they are channeling the spirit of a small boy who only refers to himself by the initials SF. They ask the boy for his age and some other questions, but apparently it's only interested in trying to warn them about a hidden danger. RUN it spells, so they get out of there fast without properly ending the ceremony. When Shawnee Explores remembers that he needs to select goodbye or risk becoming possessed, he discovers that he can't move the pointer without an extreme amount of force. It's almost as if something is not letting him move. You can see the pointer barely moving despite Shawnee pressing very hard, but I guess he could be pressing straight down instead of forward to create this illusion. I think this video is probably real, but I can't tell for sure, so give me your best guess and let's figure it out together. A group of British ghost hunters are walking around the Wilney graveyard in search of paranormal evidence. It's late at night when they apparently find exactly what they are looking for. Pay close attention to the area between the two tombstones or you might miss it.
What the f was that?
The man's flashlight passes over a tall silhouette that makes him pause. It looks like it could have simply been some shadows playing against the wall, but they light up the entire area. And there's no wall to be found. Let me know if you saw the strange shadowy figure and what you think it could have been. This footage was taken by an American tourist who was visiting Romania. He was just walking around a local zoo on his own, checking out the sights when he hears about a new attraction that is unlike any of the others. He is ushered into a dark farmhouse along with some other curious observers. Almost immediately, the tone of the video changes from skeptical to serious. It's hard to say exactly how, but something just feels wrong all of a sudden. You can hear the villagers talking among themselves, excitedly as they push past. Farm animals are making noises as the American makes his way deeper inside. This section is very dark now, and even though the Romanians are speaking in a different language, you can tell that people are sounding worried and concerned as they come closer and closer to the main attraction. Finally, the American tourist sees it for himself. Sitting across from them on a straw floor is what appears to be a white humanoid creature with black eyes and a wide gap for a mouth. It makes a series of tortured gurgling sounds and then charges towards its cage as the video quickly ends. It's hard to tell if this is a real creature or a man in a suit because the lighting is very dim. At the same time, Romania is a very rural country, and anything could be lurking in the woods. Maybe someone really did capture this thing and drag it back to society to be gawked at by paying crowds. If this thing is real, then the poor humanoid sounds like it's been severely mistreated and probably needs help. While some orbs do indeed appear like nothing but floating dust, others act more strangely. Published to YouTube by Ryan Blake in April 2020, he writes, "Caught this on our night vision camera at about 4 a.m. This is a very used basement, and there really isn't any dust down there, since my wife and I keep it very clean. Don't know what to make of it really." The series of videos shows orbs on several occasions sweeping past the camera. The first one flies from the upper left corner down to the bottom right. The second up the right side of the screen. The third briefly appears after the YouTuber shuts the door at the end of the hallway to go to bed. And the fourth flies up to the right and then back down again, returning to the bottom left corner. Is this a case of bugs, dust, or other explainable events? Or could this be a spirit channeling these homeowners, attempting to be made known? If only we could ask the orbs what their motive is. Exploration Unknown is a Knoxville-based urban exploration channel run by a man named John Turner. First appearing on YouTube in 2016, he dedicates his time to venturing into creepy abandoned locations, from derelict home to former orphanages and asylums. His choice of location will often have a gruesome true story behind them, including the takings of life and other horrible events. Back in November 2017, John, along with friends James and Tim, returned to the abandoned Glendale orphanage they previously explored. This time their goal was to conduct the infamous 3 a.m. challenge. In short, 3 a.m. is considered the witching hour, the perfect time for hunting ghosts. Almost right off the bat at the video start, John and the others have split up when a wooden board is seen falling on its own from behind a doorway. John goes to investigate, and much to his shock and slight bemusement, it turns out it was just James playing a joke on them. This appears to be in James's nature, as he does so again when he slams a metal door shut, scaring John so badly he accidentally stops recording. Jokes aside, Tim soon begins to feel lightheaded after the trio go to the second floor and therefore decides to head outside for some air. Meanwhile, James and John continue to investigate the second floor, finding the normal things you would expect in an abandoned building: graffiti, specks of dust, etc. When they descend the stairs back to the first floor, they are shocked to find Tim collapsed on the floor, out cold.
Down in the basement. I hope I got reception down there.
Tim? Dude, you okay? Tim? Tim, dude. Tim.
Bro, what are you doing?
You okay, man?
Thankfully, they were able to wake him, although he is clearly dazed and groggy. The reaction from John and James are of genuine concern and confusion, and Tim appears to be really out of it with a pale complexion. Deciding Tim's safety is more important, James and John help their fallen friend back outside and back to the car. Clearly shaken by the incident, John and James decide not to venture into the basement, and instead, footage of their previous visit is shown. It is unknown what exactly happened, and no other paranormal activity can be seen in the footage, so it is undetermined if Tim was the victim of some sort of attachment. He does show the common signs of paranormal attachment, which often manifest as feeling lightheaded and nauseated, and can even lead to passing out. What could also be possible is Tim came under the effects of harmful dust in the building. Considering the age and state of the orphanage, it is possible Tim became overwhelmed by particles such as asbestos, a once common insulation that can cause damage to the lungs if breathed in. The fact that John and James were unaffected does cast some doubt on this theory, although it is still completely possible. Regardless, finding your friend unconscious on the floor of such an eerie location is certain to scare anyone. Thankfully, Tim was okay and apparently started feeling a bit better after resting by the car. With that said, the three decided to call it a night and left the location. John clarified in the video description and comments Tim was okay and recovered, as well as thanking those who expressed concern for his condition. On February 21st, 2021, John uploaded a director's cut of the original video, acting as a sort of commentary. John discusses his personal experience that night. He stated he felt concerned about Tim when he said he wasn't feeling good, and expressed regret for not going with Tim to make sure he was alright. He also said he has received messages from people who had lived there during its operation, saying they actually had good experiences while residing there. They considered it a home with the staff taking good care of them. Comparing it to places such as Leckworth Village, it is a relief to hear good experiences about an orphanage. as they can be notorious for negativity, to put it mildly. When discussing the moment he and James found Tim, he said it looked as if he broke his leg. It is at this point John himself discusses a possible third explanation for Tim's condition. According to John, Tim had been up almost 30 hours at this point and had actually worked a full shift of work prior to joining the others. However, he also expresses Tim is sensitive to locations, including a time he collapsed at Skinwalker Ranch. This gives further support something had attached to him, but considering the positive remarks from former residents, it's hard to say what attached. It's good to know Tim turned out okay in the end, as these investigations can cause serious consequences. A musical performance tunes up the paranormal apparently. Published by Chloe Fantillon in July of 2013. Two men are playing music together in a bedroom, one guitarist and one violinist. They wrap up their song and leave the room, letting their camera roll. Once they've left, a shirt drapes over the shelf, falling down strangely, like there's a body inside. A moment later, items fall from the top shelf, and then both instruments start moving at once. The guitar falls completely off of the bed. Was this duo's music so haunting that it conjured up the paranormal? Or is something even more sinister going on here? This home in Villisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even ask the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm going to do as promised. I'm going to leave you some candy. I'm going to leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. A YouTuber named Yams is hanging out with his friend Bryson when they suddenly suspect that they saw something bizarre off in the woods located near Yams' house. When they took out their phone, they were able to take a picture of the strange phenomena in question, but they want to see if they can find it one more time, and this time in person. So they split up and go 2 separate ways in order to see if they can track down whatever it is they saw. Even still, I don't think they knew that this was going to happen.
What was that?
Right there. So I just want you to focus your attention. Upper left corner of the screen. There's clearly somebody walking in the woods here.
Will!
Right there. And I think this is actually a case of just a complete stranger just sort of wandering around in the woods here. But this also seems to kind of be a bit of a residential area, and there doesn't look to be, maybe there's a pathway right here, but they look to be walking directly in the tree line here. Almost like they're trying to stay out of sight, but it certainly terrified this YouTuber. Out of the corner of his eye, one of the friends sees the creature in question lurking around the forest and begins to run away from the scene immediately and starts to call out his friend's name in order to find him and regroup. Luckily, just a few moments later, the 2 friends are back together, and the one filming informs the other that he believes he was able to capture the creature on film. However, some people in the comments have questioned this video's authenticity, stating that just a few seconds before the footage cuts off, you can see a long black object laying on the ground, which some people say is a costume. Then again, it could have just been something completely unrelated, but you never know. Either way, fake or not, this is one creepy video you won't want to watch late at night. A YouTuber named Harry Brook is filming himself in a bullpen. When one of the bulls strays away from the rest, Harry doesn't even have time to shut the gate before the giant animal charges straight for him, and he barely makes it up the fence with his life. Clearly, there is nothing that any of the fellow ranchers could have done to save him. The entire event is over in less than 10 seconds. This clip was posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit by Scream Aim and Fire. When you're home alone and you start catching things moving out of the corner of your eye, you may begin to wonder whether you're really alone after all. Scream explains that, days before, she had noticed a bell hanging from the ceiling move slightly, but there was no breeze, and nothing else hanging in the room was moving. Thereafter, when she was home alone, she started to hear things, like people pacing the hallways. She turned on her camera after hearing something fall in the home, as she was determined to go and investigate. The Redditor notes that later, after rewatching the video, a couple orbs flew by. Even scarier, she writes, "I think I saw my mother-in-law's doll move too." Watch the video closely, and you'll see exactly what she's talking about. As she walks into her mother-in-law's room, the doll sitting on a chair against the back wall does appear to move its head ever so slightly. While the orbs captured throughout the video could very well be dust, it's hard to explain the doll's inexplicable movement. Does the Redditor have a Chucky situation on her hands? If so, she'd better flee before the gloves come off. The roads in Guwahati, India are apparently haunted. Just ask Abhinash Kishore, aka the Mind Hunter. He pulls up behind a vehicle with an extreme background story that I'll get into in just a second. First, try to translate what he says about this truck, and then I'll tell you what I was able to research.
Guys, ঘুৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে ভূত বিচাৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে এইখন সন্মুখত কি গাড়ী দেখা পাইছে নে ৰব ভালকে দেখুৱাই দি আছো গাড়ীখন অলপ আগুৱাই দিয়া
Okay, so get this. I did some deep digging and found out that this truck is actually the only hearse service offered in the area. Before this company came to be, people used to carry the departed to the nearest graveyard. As an extra bonus, on this blog post, I found information on 3 extremely creepy but also saddening comments requesting the service as soon as possible. That means within this metal container could be someone passed away. So when he finds not 1, but 2 of these vehicles lined up in the middle of nowhere, he knows that something really bad must have happened, and he better not stick around for long. Unfortunately for him, the time to leave safely has already passed.
Stop.
The Mindhunter's assistant gets scared and drives off, but the Mindhunter will have none of it and makes him return. There is another brief sighting until the figure fades away into darkness. This alleged ghost sighting caught on video could simply be a third member of the group, but since it happens not far from where they found the abandoned vehicles that could have had passed away people inside, it could be real. A YouTuber named Dagger Production is playing the remastered Call of Duty when he hears someone messing with the entrance to his house. According to Dagger Productions, this is the exact moment the encounter began. Listen closely to this part and you'll hear what sounds like the front door slamming as the person runs away. It sounds like the door slams from the other side of the house, but Dagger Productions returns to his room a second later. He wouldn't be able to slam the far door and get back to the camera that fast if he was just making this up. A paranormal explorer named Yash Sadiq brings us a ghost sighting all the way from Tamil Nadu, a large state in South India. This abandoned house has sat rotting for years until their investigation reveals the presence of something lurking within. A dark and mysterious figure watches them from the other side of a wall and then retreats. It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but look again and you'll see a small edit here at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. It could be a camera glitch from Paranormal Energy. However, I think the real reason for this edit is because they didn't like the way it looked the first time and decided to record the scene again. No one's getting any sleep in this room tonight. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022, a woman is trying to catch some Z's in bed when a poltergeist takes over the room. First, it causes this baby swing to jerk around erratically, which wakes the woman up. She gets up and holds it still, which it is for a moment, but then it starts to swing like crazy again. The woman seems to think it's the wind. She checks the window. When the chair is still again, something flies from off the top of the wardrobe. A moment later, the closet door creaks open and then swings open further. The baby swing starts moving briefly. A moment later, something creepy appears in the mirror of the wardrobe door. What is it? But I'd guess that it's what's causing all the chaos. At first, Redditor Dawn Granger believes this sound was in her imagination, but then she recorded it. Listen closely. It sounds like a strangled scream. Some in the comments think it's just air escaping a container of some kind. Others think it's a trapped animal. I wouldn't rule out a portal to the fiery depths below, but those two theories also seem likely. This sound is for sure something you don't want to be imagining. Two friends are feeding their pet rabbits in the living room when they suddenly hear a mysterious noise coming from outside. Both of them are feeling pretty brave as they creep up the window and continue recording. As tough as they might be, neither of them are prepared for what they see next.
There's something like
crouching down there.
Yeah, could you get the light? Yeah. What? Yeah, there's something back there.
Outside, some sort of orange four-legged humanoid is facing away from them. It's very low to the ground. Look directly under the clothesline if you can't see it. It's a strange glowing color that doesn't seem to belong in this world. Play the tape again in slow motion and you can clearly see the humanoid sprint away as soon as one of them knocks on the window to get its attention. It's clearly startled as it retreats over a fence with a speed too fast for its bulky body. The two of them rush out in the backyard for a fight, but they find that the creature is already gone. They check a nearby alley and quickly give up. Nobody was hurt. As for what the humanoid was doing, perhaps it smelled the scent of two rabbits and went in search of a fresh meal. This Colombian video from 2008 is apparently the last footage taken by 4 men that disappeared, found inside an abandoned car. The footage shows the men driving towards a strange person dressed in all white, possibly a wedding dress.
Arranca. No, despacio, hágale despacio. Mierda, huevón, hágale despacio.
They slowly approach the person and attempt to drive around them, and that's where the video ends. What happens next is a complete mystery, since this was the only footage found. Skeptics have been unable to debunk this video or find the whereabouts of the disappeared men that were mentioned. It appears whoever was standing on the road that night will remain a mystery. Basements are built to house all the evils of the world. This basement is no exception. Published by YouTuber Mr. Vujade in February of 2012, this frightening basement monster will scare the living daylights out of you. The short clip sees our protagonist heading downstairs into a creepy dark basement. As he slowly searches the space, it appears empty, apart from a few piles of storage items, some bicycles, the usual suspects in a basement. But then suddenly he turns, which is when he is confronted by this. I'm never going down there again, the YouTuber writes. Who can blame him? I don't think I could ever work up the courage to explore that basement. A possible ghost sighting in the Indian town of Kudail has left construction worker witnesses wondering what it was they saw walking around late at night. You can hear them talking about the figure when suddenly it lets out a loud scream that all of them hear over the construction equipment. This video is real, warns the uploader, who says that this was taken by his sister's friend at 2:30 in the morning. I'm not sure if I believe him or not, but if I lived in the area, I definitely wouldn't take the chance of walking around early in the morning and finding out. A YouTuber named Xander H takes a group of friends to an asylum that was abandoned long ago. They come across wall after wall of graffiti and begin to wonder if people could still be living in here after all.
What does it say?
They see you.
That's like some anonymous.
Dude, it goes upstairs. Let's go up here. Go.
There's not much to find on the first floor besides lots of written warnings and an overall bad feeling, so they decide to head upstairs. They don't even make it halfway before this happens to them. Something large and heavy stomps down the steps and sends the small group screaming for their lives. They don't get it on tape, but I still think this video is probably real because each member of the group is clearly on camera when they hear the running footsteps. I think there is a good chance this video is real and that they were chased out, maybe even by something supernatural. Officially shuttered since 1987, it was just announced in February that this century-old building will soon be demolished. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Ryan McCullister and originally published to a YouTube channel of the same name, this paranormal team is making one last visit to the old Three Rivers Hospital in Michigan. As they make their way through a doorway, a creepy baby voice is heard in the background.
Hey, blue cheese. Yeah, no.
Look at that smiley face down there.
That's creepy.
See if I can see it. There you go.
Ew, look at all how dirty the air is down here.
Many in the comments think it's not a baby but a cat. Others think it sounds like the lens focusing, but several Redditors agree that it sounds like a baby. Sparkling Duckling writes, those smiling graffiti faces. Artists tried to stop the ghost baby from crying, unsuccessfully. I think the biggest question now is what's going to happen to all these spirits after this building is demolished. This creepy farmhouse will have you swearing off abandoned buildings for life. Published by .do's Urban Exploration in April of 2013, the uploader admits to being skeptical to the paranormal, but this incident made him consider opening up to the possibility. Da writes that the house sits about a half a kilometer from a road in Bobcage, Ontario. The house is isolated with just a barn and an outcrop of other buildings. It appears from a distance to be tightly boarded up, but a back door was wide open. He writes, now it is very possible all the environmental conditions were perfect for this experience. However, Wingman Jan happened to be with me on this explore, and we are in agreement. There was something more to this. He says the video doesn't really do the reality justice. The sounds were much more magnified, which he describes as like freight trains. He writes, there was the sound of someone else walking. There was the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor, and when exiting, it was like being followed out to the threshold of Inside and Out. Without further ado, let's take a look at the cryptic video. Even the approach to the house's exterior is a bit unnerving. The back door is under an overhanging, which our friends sneak beneath to catch a glimpse of a bunch of knickknacks and garbage littering the ground, including an old sewing machine. The back door is wide open, it's dark inside. They climb the steps to the kitchen area, also disheveled and covered with odds and ends. Once inside, they're stepping over the trash and other items on the floor while scanning the rooms with a flashlight. They enter the living room. Something on a door across the room flies up. It appears to be blown by a breeze. The door then opens and slams shut while our brave Da backs away. Instead of racing out of there, they get closer. The door keeps creaking open and slamming shut again. He finally enters the empty hallway. No one is there. He shines the flashlight upstairs, and just when you think he's going to explore that second level, he hurries the heck out of that house. Probably a smart idea. The house alone is unsettling. I can't imagine what being there in person must have felt like. Although Da knows some might call him a coward for being afraid, he insists that you had to be there to know what it truly felt like. On the contrary, most people believe in the comments of this video that Da was brave to stay in this obviously haunted house as long as he did. I'm one of them. This rare leaked footage supposedly shows the chaotic aftermath of a UFO that smashed into the sand at Roswell, New Mexico. Medical doctors and military personnel swarm around a gaunt humanoid laid out on a stretcher. Its body is only about half the size of a full-grown man and shares all the characteristics of the quote-unquote little gray man stereotype. I'm not sure how real this video is, because even though everyone is rushing around frantically, no one really seems to be doing much to keep this situation moving forward. They look more like actors than trained professionals in this regard. Also, if this being just dropped out of space, then I'm surprised it doesn't look more banged up than what you see here. Maybe the damage is internal, or maybe it's just a prop. At any rate, this video was supposedly recorded in 1947, so I'm hoping a film expert could further analyze this video and tell me whether or not this was really recorded during that time. When you explore abandoned places, sometimes you're not alone. YouTuber Christian Harbin posted this video in March of 2018 writing, "This creepy abandoned house ended up giving us more than we expected. When I heard those footsteps, my heart skipped like 4 beats. Whose footsteps did they hear? Watch and see."
Crystal. Did you go upstairs? Yep. Good.
When they first approach this creepy house, they find a Ken doll posted up on the mailbox. They wander around outside for a bit before entering through the front door, which is absent of a doorknob. The place looks like it's been stripped, perhaps being prepared for demolition. After they explore the house a bit, they enter the garage, which still has an elliptical inside, but the stranger thing is the attic door is open, with the wooden staircase leading down to the garage floor. When one of them loses to rock, paper, scissors, he must climb those stairs to the attic and see what or who is up there. They decide to enter a door beyond the attic on the ground floor first, but before they can, they hear the footsteps. They're coming from the attic. The pair say this is the first time they've heard something creepy in the abandoned places they explore, but they didn't wait around long enough to see who is making the noise. Most in the comments believe it was probably a person. Others thought it might be an animal. But YouTuber Deanna Ann offered up the creepiest guess. Someone's nailed by their feet up there like the Ken doll. Makes you hope it's anything but that. Here's a bit of universal advice that applies to everyone no matter which country you're in. If you and your friends are thinking about exploring some creepy haunted abandoned places, just don't. It could save your life. This YouTuber went exploring these abandoned houses in Egypt and caught some scary stuff on camera that left him and his friends running for their lives. The group has a bad feeling and should have left early, but they keep exploring because no one wants the shame that comes with being the most scared. They're looking for a way into this house but never get the chance.
صح؟ كده خاف يصطادنا. اختفى ولا ايه؟ بس يا جدعان كان هنا. الشاب صح. حد انور عليه.
They still can't believe what they are seeing, so they take one last final look. The figure is still there and they're still scared. When hiding in a field doesn't work, they decide to run deeper into the forest. Their plan works and they vow never to return to this area again, and for good reason. I don't know if there really was someone who they didn't know living in this place, or if it was just one of their friends. It's probably a skit though, because of how slow the person chasing them walks. This creepy doll was found perched on a platform in a graveyard. What is it doing here? Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by Blocks. The doll's eyes follow you wherever you move. It appears to be dressed in a baptism garb, and it has 2 sharp teeth and what look like real hair. The doll just keeps watching with its eerie grin as the cameraman takes it in from all angles. While some in the comments explain that these eyes are able to follow you due to the curvature of the glass, that still doesn't explain what this creepy demon doll is doing in a graveyard. Some Redditors want this thing removed from the earth just to be safe, but Geraldine Ferrari writes, its eyes would still follow you. Yikes. If you knowingly lived in a haunted house, would you stay? Donnie Drunkard did. Published to YouTube in December of 2020, this paranormal activity will run you out of Donnie Drunkard's home. Donnie writes, after trying to recover footage that I thought was lost, I found these clips from last year documenting the earliest days of paranormal and poltergeist activity manifesting in my haunted house. The footage first shows Donnie playing with his dog Terry, but later that night Donnie notes that the atmosphere changed and that they heard voices and sounds coming from upstairs. Terrifying clinking and clanking bursts through the darkness. Terry is growling as Donnie grabs for his Bible and starts to pray.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
As Terry tries to escape under a table for comfort.
Terry, come here. Terry. Come on. Come on, Terry. We gotta go.
Donnie gathers him up to flee this mayhem for a time as they head out for a drive. In the background, an overhead light is swinging back and forth while they are away. A closet door near where the sound originated opens slowly. Nothing exits. YouTuber Brenda Luke writes, that hallway, it's not just darkness, it's advanced darkness. I'd be leaving that haunted house immediately. Exploring with Danny is back, this time at an abandoned building rumored to have strange lights and other happenings. Within minutes of entering, they hear a humming noise that briefly morphs into strange piano music coming from the basement.
Can you answer that?
As they round a corner, they find candles are placed in a circle. A woman with a pale face and long black hair turns to them, but I'm not exactly buying it. I mean, her shoes kind of look normal to me, so this could just be a regular person dressed up. Still, the way she continues to chase after them makes me wonder if she's a crazy person, or if I'm wrong about her being a ghost completely. But skid or not, there really might be something lurking down there with them. Everyone is lurking at the corner on the left at the 7-minute mark, but what I want to know is what's up with the 2 different colored eyes in the back. Perhaps something was watching them this whole time. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices.
There's someone in there.
This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them. Rubble on the ground. But in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place. A paranormal investigator who goes by Bakersfield Paranormal Services sadly lost his mother and is filled with grief. Even though he is very distraught, he wants to communicate with her. He goes to the cemetery with his equipment and approaches his mother's marker. At first, he asks some basic questions and has her respond by playing with the lights.
Are you always around me and my wife and my kids? Thank you. Emotions there, Mom. Do you love my wife? Okay, I got it. I got it.
After a while, he pulls out what he calls a ghost box, which supposedly allows his mother to communicate using various radio frequencies. He believes other spirits are crowding around the box and keeping his mom from communicating.
Mom, can you please speak to me? You're trying to?
He thinks she says, "I'm trying to," but I think it kind of sounds like she might be saying, "I love you." Listen to it again and let me know what you hear during this part. A YouTube channel called Meet the Vloggers goes exploring a haunted cemetery in the United Kingdom in search of an authentic ghost encounter, and they think they've caught a bizarre moment on tape. After a tight squeeze, the three of them are in and immediately feel surrounded by negative energy.
First, we've just come into the haunted cemetery and we're gonna have a look around. It feels really eerie, like really starting to get dark a lot as well. We're staying here, we're doing exploring, man. This girl doesn't understand what exploring means.
One already wants to head back while there is still light to be had, but is quickly persuaded to stay. Night falls and their unwavering dread reaches peak levels.
100%.
I'm ready now. Oh my god, I'm so scared. What?
One of them, Layla, sees something ahead, but nothing is caught on camera. Aside from an empty walkway, no ghost sighting, at least not yet. Little do they know a fourth person is moments away from joining their trio. They take a few steps forward and Layla begins to freak out again. She must have a sixth sense or something, because this time there is frightening paranormal evidence.
This is so creepy. No, I'm actually bugging. There's a guy behind us.
A strange and mysterious figure silently approaches them without saying a word. Keep in mind this is after hours, and they themselves had to sneak in through the gate, so whoever this is, they are not likely a visitor. That leaves a maintenance or security, but if that were the case, then they would have said something to three people trespassing. Night has fallen and they are on their way out when they hear some really scary noises that prompt them to move a little faster.
Wait, turn off the torch.
What is that? I don't know. Go see what they're doing first.
Across from them is a humming, crying noise coming from some kind of candlelit vigil that they don't want to investigate. If they did, they might have encountered the scariest ghost sighting ever caught on camera. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her two sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her two boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken. So maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like woman's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce? Mi esposa. ¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh? Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.